right. Let's do this thing. Very excited. Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrew King. I'm the editor-in-chief of Canadian Musician, and beside me, the one and only Micah Barnes, Canadian jazz legend. We are here to kick off the virtual tour to support Micah's brand new record. It drops today, June 12th, Vegas Breeze. Now, this one finds Micah celebrating the big band sound of Las Vegas showrooms in the 50s and 60s. It's on the heels of his last one, New York Stories, which instead focused on the intimate, smoky New York jazz scene of decades past. So we'll talk a little bit about the record. We'll talk about this virtual tour concept. And, well, we've got Micah right here. Micah, thrilled to have you joining us. And before we jump into this, fill us in. What's keeping you and the team busy? You tour right around the corner, record drop today. How's it all going?
Man, it's been great. First of all, I'm thrilled to be doing this with you, Andrew. I love Canadian Musician Magazine and all you do for the community. It means a lot. Yeah, we're busy. Like when you drop a record now, there's so much involved in getting a community of support and momentum around the music. So we dropped a couple of singles early, right? And that way we're slowly building momentum over the course of the last 6 months. And people have been so kind and really responsive to the music. But it means that my team has been kind of delivering. And now is the big payoff. It's the day that the drops, and anybody who releases records knows it's a wild feeling. You give your baby to the world and you hope the world will love your baby, and your baby's like as well educated and perfect as you could make them, but the world is a crazy cool place right now. So yeah. It can be odd.
No doubt. Okay, so the record's out. Congrats on that. So as we mentioned, follow-up to New York Stories. What informed the decision this time then to switch coasts and take on the Vegas big band sound for your latest?
Right on. Well, the New York Stories album happened really organically. I was living in New York. I was out clubbing there, listening to music, walking through the city and feeling the musical history there. And it was an intimate record full of like that late night 3 a.m. or, like out in a cafe feel, And when I started bringing songs to my band, they're smart, right? They know me well, and they know the history of jazz music intimately. So the first couple of tunes I would bring, and they were like, oh, this is a different vibe, My listening habits had changed. And suddenly my bass player, Russ Boswell, said, all the tunes you're bringing us are show tunes from the showroom era. Did you realize that? And I was like, no, I had no idea that that's what I was doing. But I was experimenting with a bigger kind of showier, more swaggery, intense kind of vocal, less intimate, the way the New York Stories was an intimate, romantic record. And careful, it's Queen Street out there. Everything's going to be, you can probably hear the sirens, eh?
Big city sounds.
That's it. But yeah, so the guys in the band were the first to identify it. And then I went, oh, they're right. I'm actually living in a Vegas showroom from 1963, That seemed to be the template. And really at that point, we'd already launched and we were arranging the tunes. We were pretty deep in before I realized all the cover tunes are Vegas tunes.
Right. Well, we're about to hear some music, get a taste of the performance style that people can expect for the virtual tour. We're going to hear the title track. Before we do, though, one more. Tell us a bit about the record-making process and who you brought into the fold. I mean, I know you've got your go-to live band, but in terms of like horns and some of the more expansive sounds we hear, tell us a bit about the arranging and recording process.
With pleasure, man. So I've always dreamed of having a recording band that was also my touring band. And finally, after all these years, I have that. So Michael Shand on the keys and Russ Boswell on the bass and Al Cross on the drums. Once we got the basic arrangement figured out, and we really went to the audiences and tried out tunes live a whole lot. That was a big part of, I really like doing that. By the time you get to the studio, you want to have lived in that song for a long time, right? I knew it was cover tunes too, and that's a little different for me. I'm used to writing my own stuff. So once we had the beds done, live off the floor, old school jazz style, and I had my scratch vocals put down, John Beadle Bailey and I were having the conversation about, he's my engineer and long-term collaborator who helps construct the sound of the records.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I really think there's going to be a way to pull off horns. And because Don Breidup is somebody who he works with, he's famously from Monkey House, which is a fantastic band.
Right.
And the ideas that Don had were so inside our arrangements. He built from the ground up. So it's as if he was in the room. It's like he's responding to the way the musicians and the way my vocals are working. It's such a beautiful detail. I just went, okay, this horn section sounds like $1 million, but there's 2 or 3 songs on here that could use strings. So we enlisted Don, and we sort of, he came on board to also do strings, and Ricky Franks had done all the vocal arrangements for me. And Ricky and I have been singing with Miku Graham a long time in the project. We just hadn't had them on the records yet. So this is the first time, Andrew, that I've sat down in the center of a studio and felt like all the music that we've created is around my voice and my musical personality.
Right.
It's incredible, right? When you finally get to that point, I'm making the record of my dreams then.
Love it. Well, let's hear a taste, and I guess it'll be a little more intimate of a take, again, as we'll see with Micah throughout the upcoming Canadian virtual tour. But I'll let him virtually introduce us in a moment. Let me just cue up our performance.
Hi, guys. So I thought for the kickoff of our virtual tour, along with Canadian Musician Magazine, it felt like I should probably give you guys the title tune. Something that my brother and I wrote a number of years ago, but once the band and I had focused on the Vegas direction, I refashioned the lyric, and we ended up with an original for our title tune, which was a lovely surprise. A tribute to the spot in our hearts that Vegas occupies. I wanna take you far away from it all. Down in the desert, there's a place that I know. Just one weekend we can feel that Vegas breeze. That Vegas breeze, bringing back sweet memories. The road ahead's a mystery, a song we long to know. Under the neon stars, who knows what fortune calls? Where the roulette ball may fall, who knows what the night may hold? There's something blowing in that Vegas breeze. One kiss and magically, our tomorrow suddenly became a game for two. Come on, let's roll the dice, order something smooth on ice, make our own paradise underneath the Vegas moon. I confess that I never guessed you would stay to play all night. Bang gon' swing and slots gon' ring, ring-a-ding till the morning light. We're keeping cool by the hotel pool. It's a great big swinging playground, and if we miss our plane back home, we'll blame it on that Vegas breeze. Lucky stars that brought you me, future's ours and you believe ours, and dreams can come true. So darling, take my hand and we'll wander this wonderland and talk about wedding plans, riding on that Vegas breeze. The band gon' swing, the shots gon' ring, ring a ding for the night. It's a great big swinging playground, and make a Vegas a love song we will tell. Years from now, by the wish him well. How we heard those wedding bells ringing in that Vegas breeze. Vegas breeze. Vegas breeze. I wanna take you away. Take you away. I wanna take you away. Away. On a Vegas breeze.
Oh, outstanding. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. I guess I've got to ask. I mean, we're talking about the concept of a virtual tour here, which, I mean, we all know the realities that push us to this. So I guess I'm wondering, was there deliberation on your end between you and your team about releasing Vegas Breeze amidst the pandemic here when people are at home, and like weighing pros and cons to that?
Oh yeah, man, it's been quite a process. We had everything ready to go for the end of March, and with a kickoff concert here in Toronto. And I was hearing from a couple of longtime fans that they were nervous about attending the concert because by that point we were already in lockdown. We were about to hit lockdown. The big concert tours hadn't been canceled yet when we canceled our release. We were like, it's just, we don't know where this is going. We don't want people to be unsafe. So we called it early. In fact, it felt really early. It felt like, are we crazy? And then within the hours and weeks that followed, we saw, the entire industry shut down. And then we pulled the trigger for the spring, and the world of racial injustice exploded. And I have to say, that's been actually the hardest thing for us. It's easy to keep people safe in a pandemic. It's harder to try to release music that I'd committed to releasing for June in the middle of a moment when people's hearts and minds were filled with pain that had been held for a long, long time, and changes are afoot. So people are on the street, people are, online talking about their experiences. And in the midst of that, I didn't want to be the guy that went, hi, look at me, listen to my record. Like, it's kind of gross to be all about your product. And a couple of friends who are, who I trust said, no, we're hurting right now. Our communities are hurting. We could really use a good time. And this record is a good time. So they convinced me to move ahead, and that by this point in the spring, we'd all be ready to come out of the house and pretend we could get on a plane and go to Vegas, if not actually, spin the album and put on your party hat.
Yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal. Okay, so the virtual tour, great idea. And I guess just to give people, or maybe I'll let you tee up who some of the partners are and how this is going to come together. But yeah, tell us about the concept behind this, where it came from, how it got fleshed out, and ultimately how you went about bringing together all of these presenting partners and such a great team of support.
Well, thank you. What happened was we were like, first of all, I did a National Arts Center live streaming concert, and it went so well for me. I loved it. I thought, oh my God, I'm finally making the music that I've been working on for the last couple of years and giving it to people. The response was fantastic. People were really, really warm and welcoming. So that really made me go, well, I could see live streaming as a way to get to folks with this music, to give this music to people. And I think really what motivated me and my team, Andrew, was to find people where they live, to go and partner with the different jazz venues across the country, important bloggers, magazines, people who are at the center of the culture, like Canadian Musician Magazine, and kind of, find our audiences where they already live. Felt like a way of touring rather than, oh, come to my Facebook page, I'm doing a concert. It was more like, we want to go across the country for real. And we are. We're actually going all the way from the East Coast, Nova Scotia, all the way to Victoria, BC on the Vancouver Island. And like, that is fun. Like, I will tell you, I may be in my home studio with the piano and like a nice jacket, but I will literally be feeling the vibe of each city. So, and that's really what my team and I wanted to do, is create partnerships with people that will allow us to be down with the audiences where they already live. That was our key.
Well, outstanding. Well, asking this one now almost seems moot after watching how much fun the last performance was. But yeah, I'm wondering just about how you plan to, and again, we saw it in the flesh, but deliver the excitement and charisma that your shows are so well known for in this more kind of stripped down, bare bones environment.
Oh man, Andrew, I miss my band so bad right now. I'm telling you, like, I started my career at the piano, right? In fact, this whole Vegas thing, it's I've always been an entertainer, and so that in jazz circles can sometimes be leveled against you, like, oh, it's entertaining, so it can't be artistic, And I've always wanted to combine the both. If I'm successful, it's because I'm selling beer to your average human and singing songs they care about. That's my philosophy. So I'm already in that tradition, like Satchmo and the other kind of ambassadors for jazz, and that I want to be with the people. And then you add this weird screen, or the thing that I have to get through to get to everybody. At first I thought, like, okay, it's not going to work the same, but what I've recognized is that if I just keep giving the way I give on stage, people receive it. Like, they really receive it, and in some ways you're gonna the Nylon's experience taught me, the performance part's the thrill. It's the travel that we hate. The hotel, to the airport, the waiting, the play. I remember we used to say, like, we're getting paid for the travel. The show part we'd do for free, So in a nice kind of way, you know what I mean? So I get to live in my world, live in my own home, be in my own home studio, which is comfortable, and like, change the show every night, work on different ways that I want to, like, if I'm in Ottawa, I want to talk about my experiences in Ottawa, and same in Saskatoon, and etc. So in a weird kind of a way, I feel like I'm kind of the perfect entertainer for this, in that I managed to leap off the screen to people. I don't think it's for everybody, and I do get bored watching live streams some of the time, I will say. Jingy in the living room, and I'm like, yeah, I could see I'm going to be bored. But, I want to give you a TV show.
All right. Here, let's hear some more music.
Sure.
1 second here. Yeah, so this time we're going to throw to When in Rome, as made popular by Peggy Lee. And actually, once again, I don't want to steal your thunder. I will let you take it here, Micah.
So, looking beyond the Rat Pack playlist into the canon of the other showroom entertainers, folks like Nat King Cole, Mel Tremay, and Peggy Lee, all of whom developed their own unique material and fashioned it for their musical personalities, I found this tune that Ms. Peggy Lee introduced in the early 60s that is sort of perfect. And we did it on the album as a bossa, I'll do my best, but later it became a standard with Bill Evans and Tony Bennett. I hope you like it. It's an ode to the international playboy, if you will. When in Spain, for reasons I don't explain, I remain enjoying a brew. Don't deplore my fondness for Thunderdog. You know how Thunderdog can lead to a feud. saying farewell to friends, and romance drops in from the blue. Share more, I'm begging you, please endure. I'm taking a brief detour with somebody new. It's just that when in Rome I do as the Romans do. And though from Italy I lie to you prettily, don't think of me bitterly. Know that I'm true. Except now and then in Rome I get that old yen in Rome. And naturally when in Rome I do as the Romans do. If I ride happily, best wishes from Napoli. Don't cable me snappily to tell me we're through. 'Cause once again in Rome, in somebody's dead in Rome. Well, pussycat, when in Rome, I do as the Romans. Disregard the signs and the omens. When in Rome, I do as the Romans do.
Love it. All right. Yeah, I didn't mention, I wasn't sure how we'd be for time, but there's been some great engagement in the comments section. I asked if other people were bopping along, and the answer is absolutely. So I mentioned that if anyone's got a question pertaining to what we're talking about that they want to throw to Micah, let's. Now, micahbarnes.com, nice and easy, is where you can go to check out all of the dates on the virtual tour. But we should give a shout out to presenting partners. So the Buzz Magazine, Gig Space, Canadian Beats, our friends at Canadian Beats, the South Coast Jazz Society, jazzcast.ca, the Aeolian, Herman's Jazz Club, the Basement out in SK, the Jazz Room, missing one before, the Carlton out in Halifax, love the venue, Market Hall Performing Arts Center, and the tour wraps up with the Jazz Bistro show, venerable Canadian venue, Toronto-based. There we go. Yeah, anything else that we want to reiterate? Any parting words for the fans? They've gotten a taste of what to expect. We're doing things a little differently today with the back and forth to give people an idea of what to expect. But the performances that you've seen are going to be closer to what the virtual tour dates are like. Yeah, anything we want to let people know?
You know, it's interesting. It suddenly feels like time to dress up with this music. And I wanted to spread the word to the fans out there and the people who are digging this. I'm going to be offering a free copy of the full-length Vegas Breeze CD to folks who will send me a picture of themselves dressed, ready to go out on the night for a night on the town in classic Vegas style.
Yes.
You know, we want contest winners to get free music. So that's a little something I'm announcing now with you, Andrew, that we hadn't been talking about yet. It's a way to, you know, let's all I think it's time for us to get out of our pajamas and put on our clothing. And, you know, it's almost as if we're going out for a night on the town.
I love it. I was seriously considering going green screen and throwing up a very bad Vegas Strip background here. Did not want to compromise the integrity of your Incredible music, but I love that idea. There you go. Get glitzy, do your self-isolating Vegas look. A great question here from someone that actually I should have put in front of you, but you've been in the game for, well, quite a while. I won't date you, but yeah, veteran performer. What keeps you so passionate about the work that you get to do?
I get better at it. The harder I work at it, the more there is. The deeper I go, the more there is to learn. And so if I'm growing and if I still have things to learn and get better at, then I'm engaged. Like for instance, on this album, for the first time, I put myself front and center in the middle of the music in a way I never had before, and built the arrangements around my own musical personality much more.
Mm-hmm.
Never did it quite that way, and I think that's partly where the integrity and authenticity of this record really lands. So yeah, that's my secret, is like, I'll be doing this till I'm Tony Bennett's age if I have stuff to learn.
No, right on. Okay, there we go. Again, MicahBarnes.com, all of the dates for the virtual tour. Vegas Breeze, the album, is available now. You got a couple tastes here, a gorgeous cover and a very bouncy original tune, the title track. Again, my name is Andrew King, Canadian musician, and the one and only Micah Barnes. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to being in the comments with some of you on some of these upcoming dates.
Hey, thanks so much for having us, Andrew. It meant the world to kick off the tour with you.
You're the best. Longtime CM contributor, Canadian jazz icon, Micah Barnes. And we'll close it out here. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.